A very good afternoon to you. Welcome back to round 11 of season 10 of the SRL F1 Championship here for the British Grand Prix at Silverstone for the first SRL race of 2025. Unfortunately, our main commentator Lance LeBron couldn't make it for today's race, so that's why I'm standing in to cover the 11th round of 10th anniversary season here in SRL. We've got Sandro Julie straight away joining in on the live chat. He's going to be part of the action, of course, as always, with Scuderia Ferrari. We've got Jens Randall in the McLaren. He's going to have some good chances today to take a home victory. Of course, he's been so consistent this season, and he's got a very sizable lead in the championship. Robin Hersenhagen in the Haas. We've got Sam Brandt in the Red Bull. Alexei Koivuniemi in the Mercedes. And then the two Visa Cash-App teammates of Jesper Lempinen and Pablo Bos. Then we've got Ivan Brito in the other Mercedes, Noah Smith in the Williams, George Wilkes in the Aston Martin, Jamie Jägerstrom in the other Williams, Jerome de Marco in the McLaren, and then a couple of Dutchies here. Tim Wentink, Max Mulder, Dion Staal, and David Roth. And also Alex Benarchetti is back in the Red Bull for today's race. And Andrea Latrelle in the Haas. And now quickly, we have to check on the Aston Martin driver here. Because that name is not familiar to me. But of course, I came into this relatively unprepared because I wasn't expecting to be commentating at the start of today, although I already knew that there was a chance that Lance couldn't make it. And also I was having some issues of my own regarding my connecting my wheel and having moved around my setup a little bit. So in a way it was I guess a good timing that it was precisely this race where Lance LeBron couldn't make it to commentate because I was having some issues of my own. So we will get ready for 26 laps here at the Silverstone circuit. Of course, this is the first race of 2025, and this was also the venue of the first race in Formula One, all the way back in 1950. I really like this circuit, actually. I think it's very fast and flowing. And yeah, we've got Juan Rivas in the Aston Martin, who are just missed there. So those are all the drivers that will participate today. As we get ready for qualifying. Hopefully all the audio levels are good as well. I'll try to balance it out here. I think I might have to up the game audio a little bit so you can also hear the game sounds. But we've got plenty of time to figure that out at the start of quali here. So also for me personally, Silverstone is actually statistically my most successful track in SRL because this is the only race which I've won twice in Season 2 and Season 4. Both in very similar conditions as well, in a dry to wet race. So yeah. The only track where I've won on 2 occasions, and also one of my favorite tracks. So unfortunately, I can't be part of it this season, but SRL always brings up some exciting races, so I'm also looking forward to see what's going to happen today and to commentate on it. as we get ready for 18 minutes here for this single qualifying session. I will quickly up the audio levels a little bit here. And we will see which driver will head out first. That's one of the RBs. That looks like Pablo Bass to be the first one to go out in this session. And it is indeed. So yeah, very flowing, very wide circuit. This is the slowest part of the track. Big traction zone there, but apart from that, most of the corners are pretty high speed or medium speed and very flowing. So that's also why Silverstone is actually one of my favorite circuits on the calendar. I think it always has a nice flow to it. So Pablo Bass, number 73 in the Visa Cash App RB. And we've got a couple of other drivers heading out now as well. This is Jenson Randall in the McLaren, the championship leader. Coming through Aintree there and then into Brooklands and Lovefield. All the drivers warming up their tires here. So can Jenson Randall do it again? He actually achieved his 50th race win last time out at Monaco. Which is really impressive if you think about it. 50 F1 Grand Prix wins in SRL. With how competitive SRL is, that is no mean feat for Jenson Randall as he gets ready to start his first lap of the session here. Coming over the hanger straight. And it's Andrea Latrella behind him there in the house. He is standing in for Borbuna, who couldn't make it today. So, of course, all the drivers will try to get a banker in on this first attempt of the session here to have a lap time on the boards. Although knowing James Rand, who will probably go all in already on this first lap. We've got Joachim Pitakainen in the live chat cheering on Jesper Lampinen. So good to see Jesper getting a bit of support here. He is currently out on track here, also starting his first lap of the session at number 66 there in the Visa Cash App RB. Jesper Lampinen currently 18th in the championship on 12 points. Basically on a shared 17th position with George Wilkes, with the same amount, and the Aston Martin. So Pablo Bass 128.6 is the first lap of the weekend. And here is Jenson Randall. Let's bring up the sector times there on the top right. Jenson into the club chicane here. Let's see what he can open with here around the final corner. 126.002 for Jenson Randall. That is already a very strong lap to start off. Andrea Latrella with a 126.8, 8 tenths behind exactly of Jenson Randall. So a very, very fast lap to open the account for the British driver, chasing another victory here in his home Grand Prix. Alex Benraketti goes up into 5th place in the Red Bull. He is actually replacing myself alongside Sam Brandt. And here is the other Red Bull of the Dane in that very nice yellow and green helmet. He's also starting his first lap of the session, the number 99. One of the Ferraris there pulls out of the way. That was Dion Stahl. Sandro is now coming up to the hangar straight to start his first lap of the session. Sandro Dooley is currently in 4th place in the championship on 90 points. He moved up 1 place after Monaco. After a very nice comeback drive there, actually getting a very unexpected podium, despite also having a lot of bad luck throughout that race. So yeah, very consistent season for Sandro, being all the way up into 4th place as he starts his first lap of the session here. Into Abbey, flat out. Then farm curve and then the braking zone here into turn 3. As we see some yellow flags, I think that's just for drivers slowing down to get out of the way. As most drivers now enter the pit lane after their first run. So coming out of Lovefield there into Woodcote and then into Corpse Corner, which is of course the old turn 1. Also flat out nowadays in these cars. And then my favorite section of the circuit here, Maggots, Beckett and Chapel. It's so flowing to fly the car through here, especially if the car feels nice. If you have a very stable setup there, on the power as early as possible to carry all that momentum onto the hangar straight. Then into Chapel. Vale and the club chicane. Of course, the exterior is also crucial. It's very easy to have a bit of wheel spin there when you get on the power. 127.088 for Sandro Dooley's. That's also a pretty competitive lap time, and so far good enough for a top 3. So very solid lap there for the number 69. Jerome Adamako. He's definitely been one of the revelations this season. The German is in his rookie year. This is his very first season in SRL, and he's already shown some really impressive pace. And has already won a couple of races this season as well. He just missed out in Austin, and then won his maiden Grand Prix in Las Vegas. And he has definitely proven himself as one of the fastest drivers in the field. He has beaten Jensen Rendell. Directly beaten him in a couple of races this season, which shows that he is definitely one of the fastest drivers in the field here, Jerome Adamako. And he's actually also in P3 in the championship standings on 96 points. With 3 race wins and 4 podiums, and also 3 fast laps. So despite missing a few races, he is still in P3, which is really solid in his first year in SRL here. So Jerome Adamaka still actually yet to set a lap. As are quite a few drivers. Only the top 13 have clocked the time on the board here. Alexei Kovanen here, the Finnish driver in the Mercedes. Also a pretty solid season for him. He's got 1 podium and 6th in the championship on 75 points. I really love that blue and silver helmet design as well. Resembling the Finnish flag, and it also flows nice with the Mercedes colors. Speaking of nice helmet designs, his teammate, who is actually in the box right now, who's also got one of the nicest designs there with the turquoise design, which goes very nicely with the Mercedes. There is Pablo Baz on his 2nd flying lap. He's currently down in 13 with a 28.6. And also the two McLarens are potentially working together, Jerome Adamako and Jenson Randall. Maybe Jerome will try and give a bit of slipstream here to his teammates. And yes, he certainly helped him there. Look at that, Jenson Randall. Oh, a bit of a luck up there into Brooklyn's. Bit of a twitch as well on the exit going into Luffield. But he definitely got a bit of help there from his teammate. Jerome Adamaka's got a bit of slipstream, although it looks like he messed up his lap and he's letting him go back through, despite actually being 12 thousandths faster there at the start of Sector 1. So Jensen has backed out of that attempt. Andrea Letrella, he is also getting closer, 26.587. Only half a second away from Jenson Randall, which sounds like a lot. But still, to get within half a second of a driver like Jenson Randall, who is an alien, is definitely not bad. Also, George Wilkes in P3, Jamie Yeagers from P4. As Doolis heads out of the pits again. Doolis still hasn't won a race this season. His last victory was at Spa in season 7 on F1 2021. In a race which I actually thought I initially won, but I got a post-race penalty heading the victory to Senna Doolis. And he has had a couple of podiums this season, 4 to be precise, but still no race win for the Greek-German driver as he starts his second flying lap of the session. Into turn 1. Abbey and then farm curve, flat out in 7th gear, and then braking in between the 5100 meter board here for turn 3, 3rd gear corner, and then to the left here, keeping it in 3rd gear for the traction. Exiting the corner there, he had to actually go on the grass a little bit there, which is going to cost him a bit of grip on the right hand side of the tire, but it looks like it's already worn off into Brooklands and Luffield. Taking a bit of a V-line into here to get the car straight on the exit. So he got the power as early as possible to carry the momentum here. Through Woodcote and then into Cobb's Corner, flat out the 7th gear. Just trying to carry as much corner speed as possible to get the run into Maggotts, Baggotts and Chapel. Up to 8th, then down to 7th and then 6th. On the power as early as possible. He's keeping it in 6th there, which made the revs drop a little bit. But he is still 3/10ths quicker than what he was in his previous attempt. Into Chapel curve here, 6th gear, hugging the apex nicely. And then into Club for the final chicane. Out of the final corner, Senna Doolis improves to a 126.7 and moves up 1 position from 5th to 4th. So, very nice lap there for Doolis. Most drivers ending their middle run of this session now. And David Rod goes up into 5th place with a 26.8. David Rod, 5th in the championship with 3 podiums and a single victory, which was back in round 1 in the first round of the season in Bahrain. So still Tim Wentink, Jerome Adamako and Max Mulder without a lap time. And Jerome Adamako is about to start his lap now. It looks like he actually did a 27, although it was invalidated. So he will try again. Through Village and the loop. A nice sweeping line into the corner there to get the exit. Through Aintree onto the Wellington Straight. And now into Brooklands, braking just after the 50 meter board there. You can carry a lot of speed into the corner. Very nicely on the apex. Then down to 4th. He's keeping the line pretty tight there. It's a shorter the distance to the corner. And then using a bit of ERS there on the exit. Through Woodcote and then into Cobb's Corner, the old turn 1. Flat out in 7th gear. The friction of tires made him drop a little bit in the rest, but I can assure you that he kept the foot in there. Vegas and Chapel into 6th gear here for the second part. He's also going down to 5th. Unnice Dooley's but that caused a bit of instability there. He had a slight moment where he had a bit of oversteer coming through the final bit of Chapel there. Oh, again, a slide, and he's going to be too wide. That was an invalidation, and he will have to abort this lap and come back into the pits, although he is a little bit short on time. He's still got 2 minutes and 20 seconds, so he will be fine to get one more lap in, but he is leaving it until the last minute here, is Jerome Adamako. Keeps exceeding the track limits, and he still doesn't have a lap time on the boards yet. So all the drivers will go out again now for this final run of the session. So all the drivers now leaving their pit garage for this final run. It looks like Max Mulder might have had some sort of qualifying penalty for this race, because he has decided to call it today. Even though he actually just exited the pit lane. So that is a little bit weird for Max Mulder there to retire on the exit of the pit lane instead of actually in the box. But anyway, he is safely off the track, so that's not going to cause any issues. Jens Veranda is on a slow lap. Most drivers on their out lap. Yellow flags here in sector 2. And there we can see one of the V-carps had come off, but he stayed out of the way. The driver's weaving there to get as much temperature into the tires as possible. Trying to find a spot on the circuit here to have a bit of clean air. Senna Lulis is going to start this lap. He is behind that Williams there, but I think there's just about enough space. 14 seconds left in the session. Jenson Rando will not make it in time to get another lap in, so he will bank on that 26.0. I do think that is going to be enough, although Andrea Letrella is on a very fast lap. He was 2 tenths up on Jenson Rando in sector 1 there as he goes into Brooklands. Look at that, 200ths of a second quicker. Oh, he runs it really wide. That's going to lose him a couple of tenths there as he gets on the power. Oh, and again, a little bit too wide there, touching the gravel with the outside of his tires. And I think that is game over for a pole position attempt for the Italian. Oh, a bit of traffic there. He nearly ran into the back of the Red Bull there. So I don't think Andrea Letrella is going to be able to improve on his lap. We'll see what his second sector split is as he flies through Maggots, Baggins and Chapel here. Oh, he had a bit of instability there as well almost. Yeah, he is 5 tenths down, so it's not going to be pole position for the Italian. Senna Dulis, he's on a very good lap there. He is a 10th quicker in sector 2. And he might have a slight bit of slipstream there. That's Sam Brent there on the outside. Dulis is trying to pick up a bit of slipstream. That was pretty risky, but it might have been a slightly different image there because we had the zoomed in camera into the club chicane. Senna Dulis still down in 5th place as he exits the final corner here up towards the line. He goes from 5th to 4th with a 26.5, 2-tenth improvement. So very good lap there for Senna Dulis. Juan Rivas here, he is still on their lap, the Aston Martin driver. Currently in 10th place and he improves to P10 with a 27.1, a 2-tenth improvement there. And that is your qualifying order for today's race. So Jenson Randall with yet another pole position with a 26.002 lap time. 3 tenths clear of George Wilkes in the Aston Martin, followed by Noah Smith in Williams, and then the Ferrari of Senna Dulis and the Haas of Andrea Letrella. David Rod in 6th place in front of Alexi Koivuniemen, Jamie Jägerström, Jesper Lampinen and Juan Rivas. Pretty decent effort as well for Alex Benechetti in 11th place, the Colombian driver. who has made his return this season as a reserve driver. So yeah, very tight qualifying indeed. Jensen Rendel just not breaking into the 125, 26.00. And the top 8 covered within a second. And also Mustawi puts you tuning in to the live chat and cheering on Jesper Lampinen. So Tim Wenting and Max Mulder both are a qualifying ban, although Jerome Adamaco, he hasn't actually got a lap in, even though he was very, very fast, but he kept invalidating his lap times. So he's going to start all the way down in 18th place. So Tim Wenting with a qualifying ban, which had to do with an incident which involved myself in the last round at Monaco, where Tim Wenting and I were fighting for third place in a race. Wenting was on much faster tires, or much fresher tires, and was a lot faster at that stage as well, and tried to get through, although was perhaps a little bit too impatient, and we collided, and that resulted in a penalty for Tim Wenting. So that is pretty painful for him, because he is fighting for the championship, even though Jensen Rendel has eked out quite a sizable lead in the championship. It's still only the 11th round of the season, and Tim Wenting is still in second place on 113 points. And the reason why Max Mulder has also got a qualifying ban is because he purposely cut a corner during qualifying, which you are not allowed to do. Of course, in Monaco it is very easy to just cut the Neuville chicane to gain a bit of time on your in lap or out lap, but you're not allowed to do that even if you're not on lap. So that's why Max Mulder has got a qualifying ban. So both the Alpines at the back and the McLaren with Jerome Adamaco. Which is really surprising, because Jerome, I would have expected that he had enough time to go out again at the end of the session. But I think he either didn't or invalidated his lap again, but I was too focused on the others to actually notice that. So Jensen Rendel, the championship leader, starting from pole position, chasing his 7th race win of the season. He's leading the series with 198 points. And Tim Wenting, his closest championship rival, is starting all the way down in 17th place, and he's on 113 points. So the defending champion is doing everything right to add another title to his collection of SRL championship wins, after also winning it in season 6, 7 and 9. Now also chasing that season 10 championship victory. Starting from pole position here in Silverstone in the McLaren. Now this first corner here is pretty quick, but also it's always going to be tight with so many cars going into the first corner side by side. Unbanned Janikaja also cheering on Jesper, so good to see a lot of support there for Jesper Lampinen. The Finnish driver starting in 9th place. Behind the Dane Jamie Jägerström, and also the other Finnish driver Aleksi Koivuniemi. Starting in P7, lights are on. Oh no, Dion Stahl has got a drive-through penalty straight away as we're off for round 11 of season 10. Jensen Rendel into turn 1, he's got Noah Smith very close behind him, followed by Andrea Letrella. What's going to happen here into turn 1? lots of position changes further back. A pretty hectic start. It looked like the lights were on for a long time there. That might have called out Dion Staal. No incidents so far here on the first lap, so that is always nice to see. Back at the front, Jensen Rendo is getting under pressure from Noah Smith here. Rendo defends the inside line. Noah Smith with a bit of a cut back there. He's going to be on the outside here of Laffield. And look at Andrea Latrilla there, almost going around the outside of the Haas. Oh, it's Noah Smith around the outside of Jensen Rendo through Laffield. That is an amazing overtake here on this opening lap. First lap, cold tires, forget it. Noah Smith going all out here straight away. Oh, David Rod there carrying a lot of speed through Koop's corner. Still has to slow into P4. But Jens Rendo has not been able to maintain that pole position and actually held on to the lead here. Noah Smith with a great start. Now onto the hanger straight. No DRS yet, of course. It's only going to be enabled for the next lap. Andrea Latrella there up the inside of Jensen Rendo. Look at that. And they nearly touch. Still alongside each other as they go into the club chicane. Rendo with the defending line on the inside. Look at Andrea Latrella there. Oh, that's so close. Jensen Rendo just about holds his advantage on the outside there as we start lap 2. David Rod there in with the watching brief, and also Jamie Jägerstrom still very close behind them. Meanwhile, also Jerome Adamako, he's of course fighting his way through the field because he started all the way down in P18 and he's gonna try and make up time as soon as possible. Lots of drivers into the pits as well who picked up damage on that first lap there. Oh, look at the drivers fanning out to try and break that slipstream. Andrea Latrella up the inside of Jensen Rendo into Brooklands. Rendo with the inside line for the second part here of Laffield. Can Andrea Latrella do what Noah Smith did on the previous lap? He is still alongside, but Jensen Rendo just about holds him off for now. So we are looking at a one stop today. And most drivers will probably just go from soft to medium since the tire wear is not very heavy around this circuit. And also no rain expected, so the strategy is going to be pretty straightforward. David Rod there, he is trying to find a way around the Haas of Andrea Latrella. David Rod up the inside into Stowe corner here. Oh, massive slide there for Juan Rivas. He just about caught that and manages to hold on to P6 there as David Rod fights it out with Andrea Latrella as we start lap 3. Noah Smith with a 30.3, although Tim Wenting 29.7. He's also making his way up through the field. Tim Wenting here fighting with Senna Dudas. Oh, look at the two Alpines there trying to get through on the Ferrari. Wenting up the inside of Dulis. Dulis is going to try and defend this here into the inside here of turn 4, but he can't. So Tim Wenting up into 10th position. Dulis down to 11th. He's now under pressure from the other Alpine of Max Mulder. Mulder up the inside into Brooklands. Cleanly gets it done. Runs a bit wide, but manages to hold him off. As Dion Staal goes through on Ivan Brito. Correction, that's Jesse Blampinen for 16th place. So Dion Staal will try to recover after that drive-through penalty for jumping the start. And then all the way at the back, we've got Ivan Brito followed by Sam Brandt in the Red Bull. They are very far back because they had to pit for damage straight away after the first lap. As we go onto the hanger straight for the third time, the DRS is going to be enabled this time. And this will make it very hard for Noah Smith to escape as well. He did set the fastest lap, but with the DRS you almost can't escape with that long hanger straight there as Noah Smith. Correction, David Rod goes up the inside of Andrea Latrella. David Rod now up into 3rd place. He won the opening round of the season in Bahrain. Hasn't won a race since, but he's always up there and always mixing himself in the top group here. And also in 5th place in the championship is the Romanian driver. The number 75 there in the black and green Kik Sauber. And it's amazing how close this leading group still is. I mean, I know it's only the 4th lap. As Jamie Jägerstrom goes through on George Wilkes. And also Max Mulder and Senadoulis are fighting it out for P11. This is allowing Tim Wenting to escape as well, as Robin Hersdagen go through on Pablo Bass and Ivan Brito goes through on Jesper Lampinen, who is into the pits. So it looks like he picked up some damage and he is having to replace his front wing. Back with the leading group, Noah Smith. He is doing great to hold on to this lead, although he's got Jens Render right behind him, who will have the DRS here on the hanger straight. Jens Render goes through, as does David Roth. Noah Smith goes down from first to third, loses 2 places on that single straight. And Doulis also goes back through on Max Mulder again. So this is now Sander Doulis, Max Mulder and Jerome Adamaka already up into 13th place. Yellow flags in sector 2. It looks like that is Jesper Lampinen who had lost it. George Wilkes had a bit of a look there up the inside of Trella. Correction, that was the other Aston Martin of Juan Rivas. George Wilkes still in 7th place. No, actually, correction, it wasn't Jesper Lampinen, it was Sam Brandt who had an issue there. So he is down in P18 with Jesper Lampinen behind him who just pitted. So sorry, that was not Jesper who made the mistake. Oh, you can see there a bit of a moment for Jens Rendel. Look at how close David Roth is. Now this time Jens is going to be the one who's going to be the sitting duck here on the hanger straight. David Roth then at number 75 in the Sauber goes through on the British driver. And David Roth now takes the lead for the first time in his race on lap 5. As Max Mulder is the first driver to pick up a penalty for track limit warnings. Jerome Adamaka manages to find his way around Sander Doulis now for P11. He can now try and close that gap to Alexei Kovenemi in P10. But yeah, you can still throw a blanket over this leading group. Look at that. We've got the top 8 drivers all within a second of each other. Still, Alex Benechetti, shout out to him because he is doing an amazing job to actually keep onto the back of this group here. Alex Benechetti, the Colombian driver here in 8th place. As Andrea Letrella and Noah Smith are fighting it out there, they're gonna go side by side into Cops corner, which is very difficult, yeah. Noah Smith wisely tucks in behind the Haas driver. As the drivers fly through Megas Banks and Chapel here on lap 6. On board with Jensen Rendel. David Roth tries to go to the left, had to break the system a little bit as George Wilkes picks up a penalty. Rendel with the DRS open, goes to the inside. Back into the lead. Is David Roth going to strike straight back into the chicane? No, he thinks better of it. And this is going to be like a cat and mouse game every lap because there's almost no escaping with the DRS on the hanger straight. Into the loop here. Bit of a twist for Jensen Rand on the exit. Through Aintree onto the Wellington straight. Looking back at David Roth on board with Jensen Randall. And yeah, Alex Benechetti, he is just having to leave a bit of a gap now to 7th place. George Wilkes is just within a second for Alex Benechetti, but he is hanging on by his fingernails at the moment. But still, really good pace there for the Colombian driver. Returning to SRL this season, the Season 2 champion. back when he was with McLaren. Oh, a bit of a moment there, and he gets a penalty for it. Because he exceeded the track limits there. This time David Rod is not able to get the one on Jensen Rendell. Maybe he's just trying to save a little bit of ERS there behind. The McLaren driver trying to work together. There's some funny games here between Jamie Egerstrom and Juan Rivas as well. They need to be a little bit careful because it's very easy to, of course, get tangled up with each other and lose each other time and then lose touch with the rest of the group. So we're starting to see the field get a little bit more spread out now. The two Aston Martins here of Juan Rivas and George Wilkes. Wilkes up the inside of the Spaniards. And cleanly gets it done. Leaves the door open a little bit, and this is now allowing Alex Benechetti to close up again. Pablo Bess into the pits, so that promotes Robin Herstagen up to P14 again. And Tim Benting has now closed up to the back of the Mercedes of Alexei Koivaniemi. So Tim Benting back into the points in P10. And he is still close to that leading group. Because in front of Alex there's a 2-second gap to Alex Benechetti. And he is the last driver of the top 8. Which are still close together. So despite that qualifying ban for Tim Benting, he is still actually not that far behind. David Rod now retakes the lead from Jensen Rendell. And also George Wilkes got through on Jamie Egerstrom again. So now the Romanian driver will dictate the pace again. 75 in front of 15. Oh, massive slide there for Jensen Rendell on the exit of club corner there. As David Rod also sets the fast lap with a 29.527. Jensen Rendell will have to be careful. Oh, and Max Mulder picks up a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And he has decided to retire into the pits and call it a day. So it looks like Max Mulder decided to race quit after that. He didn't agree with the 10-second time penalty. At least he retired in the pit lane, so that is at least a safe way to exit the race, and will of course not cause a safety car, a virtual safety car, whatever. But yeah, that's unfortunate for Max Mulder. He already had a qualifying ban, so he was on the back foot, and with that 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, he decided that he's not going to have a good chance of points today, and has left the race. So 18 drivers remain. Max Mulder, the first retirement of the race. Jensen Rendell back up the inside of David Rod. Does the same thing on Rod as what Rod did to Rendell. And it's a British driver into the lead again here on home soil. Tim Benting goes into the pit lane, as does George Wilkes. So a couple of drivers doing the undercut here. But even a driver like Jensen Rendell is not able to escape. Great driving result from all these drivers here in the leading group. David Rod, Andrea Letrella, Noah Smith, Jamie Egerstrom, Juan Rivas and Alex Benechetti all still within a chance of winning this race. So I think most of the drivers who haven't pitted yet on the previous lap will go into the pit lane on this occasion. Now I think we have seen Jensen Rendell and David Rod attacking each other on the hanger straight there. I think they're also trying to see when it's possible to stay ahead, because in a last lap scenario, do you want to be ahead? Or do you want to just stick back and wait for the DRS and slipstream? Maybe they're still hiding something. As Max Mulder comes on the live chat, they're saying that he did feel like he was very fast, but unfortunately it wasn't to be for him, as Jensen Rendell and David Rod both stay out. Andrea Letrella does decide to go into the pit lane. He's going to do the undercut. And also Noah Smith has decided to stay out. Okay, so Andrea Latrella into the pit lane. He was in 3rd place before he entered the pit lane, and he will now have a lap on fresh tires with Jensen Randall and David Rod still out on that very old set of softs. Although, of course, Andrea Latrella will have very cold tires as well, so it's going to be interesting to see if he can make the undercut work here. He does rejoin in P7 with a bit of clean track in front of him, so this could actually work out for the Italian. There is Alex Benechetti in P10, followed by Tim Wenting and Robin Hersthagen. Also, George Wilkes has been into the pit lane, and he's now trying to find a way around Robin, as he does now up into P12. On board with David Roth. Still in the arrest of Jensen Randall. And I suspect that both of them will go into the pit lane on this very lap. No, they won't. Jensen Randall and David Roth still stretching it. Which makes sense because Jensen Randall is actually on the hard tires and David Roth on the medium, so they're doing the opposite strategy to most drivers around them. So all the others will have a massive undercut, but both of these two will have a tire advantage at the second half of the race. Tim Wenting, he just set the fast lap of the race. He's on it and he's closing up to the back of the Williams of Jamie Jägerström. Alex Benechetti behind him. George Wilkes also still holding on. So it's definitely interesting to see Jensen Randall and David Roth on a different strategy compared to the rest of the field, because they are going to be able to run much lower into the race. They are also helping each other by, of course, slipstreaming each other and having the DRS advantage. Although all the others who have now pitted are going to be catching up, being on fresh tires, of course. Although I suspect David Roth and Jensen Randall will probably lose the lead, but then, of course, they're going to have a massive tire advantage at the end of the race because they'll be on softer and fresher tires. Jamie Jägerström, they're trying to get the run on Juan Rivas. P8 for the taking now for Jägerström, as George Wilkes also finds his way around the Colombian. Oh, but then loses the back into the braking zone, and Alex Benechetti goes straight back through. But then, look at that, George Wilkes. Oh, massive moment there, and Alex Benechetti chips off a bit of his front wing. That was unfortunate there. George Wilkes there, he lost it on the entry of Club Corner. Alex Benechetti managed to go underneath, but then Benechetti ran a bit wide, and Wilkes was able to go underneath him, and then lost it again, and that is unfortunate for Alex, because he has now got a bit of front wing damage there. Further back, this is the battle for P15 between Ivan Brito and Juan Rivas. Also made an overtake on Jamie Jägerström at the start of Sector 2. So Ivan Brito and Pablo Bass are fighting it out for P14 now, as Robin Hersthagen is into the pits. On board with Tim Wenting here, with a very nice blue and pink helmet design. Onto the hanger straight. It's Noah Smith at the front of this train. Jamie Jägerström goes through Juan Rivas. Tim Wenting still in 10th place. And I think Wenting is really starting to get a little bit stuck behind this group here, so he will have to really try and find a way around this lot to try and have a chance of catching up to the front group. And Ivan Brito just got around Pablo Bass here for P15. Tries to outbrake him into the club chicane, although Ivan Brito holds him off. Oh, massive outbreak maneuver there for Juan Rivas. Smash into the side of Noah Smith. And they're still alongside each other as they exit Brooklands there into Woodcote. And Noah Smith just about keeps in front of Juan Rivas, and Tim Wenting still very close behind him. That was really late from Juan Rivas there into Brooklands. And David Roth is now into the pits. So he will have the undercut now on Jensen Randall. So where does David Roth come out in all of this? It's going to be crucial for Roth there to have clean air in front of him, because Jensen Randall is still out there on a very old set of hards now. And David Roth now on a fresh set of softs. So the gap was about 2 seconds. It looked like Jensen Randall was starting to get a little bit of an advantage. So that's why David Roth had to go for that undercut. As Ivan Brito goes through again on Pablo Bass in his duel for P14. And still the battle going on for P7 as well. Between Jamie Egerstrom, Juan Rivas, Noah Smith, and still Tim Wenting in 10th place. He can't find his way around as he tries to go on the outside of Noah Smith here into Luffield. Wenting up to 9th place as he gets the power on the exit. Now Jensen Randall responds to David Roth. Lock up there into the pit lane. So is Jensen Randall going to be able to keep on to the lead here? Jensen Randall, he is opting for a set of mediums. He's going to go safe. So this now leaves Alexei Kovenemi into the lead. He still also hasn't pitted yet. Nor has Jerome Adamaco. So Alexei Kovenemi and Adamaco stretching it very long. And same can be said for Sander Dooley's as well. Jensen Randall exits the pit lane and rejoins the track still in front of David Roth. Although David Roth has got temperature into those tires, and he is close right back up to the back of Jensen Randall. So you could say that the undercut was definitely successful for David Roth, because he closed down a 2-second gap, and now is within striking distance. David Roth attacks him straight away and goes into the effective lead of the race. He just about keeps it within the track. David Roth back into what is now 5th place, but that will become the lead because all the 4 drivers ahead of them still need to pit. On board with Jensen Randall. Will he try and attack straight away after the hanger straight again? He is on the medium tires. David Roth has got the tire advantage for now because he's on the softs. Although, of course, his tires will wear out a lot quicker than Jensen Randall's tires will. Into this very fast section of the circuit. Magnus, Vegas and Chapel look at that in 5th gear. Then on the power again. Jensen Randall using a bit of ERS. He's all the way tucked up behind the back of David Roth, and he's going to attack him back here before we break down for Stowe. So now Randall back into the effective lead. The 2 Williams drivers fighting it out for P9. Also Tim Wenting has found a way around Juan Rivas, so Wenting up into 7th. David Roth, 29.3. Despite being overtaken by Jensen Randall, still sets the fastest lap of the race. Now very interesting with Jensen Randall being on the mediums and David Roth on the softs. David Roth definitely going aggressive here. He knows he's got to do something different to beat Jensen Randall today. As Andrea Letrella goes through on Sander Doolittle for 3rd place. And these drivers are all racing for position, but they all still need to pit. And now they've got Jensen Randall and David Roth coming up to them. Randall is going to go to the outside of Doolittle here. It was not going to make it too difficult for him. Oh, look at that. Oh, Tulis has got so little grip there. Look at the understeer for the driver. David Rod easily manages to go by. Yellow flags well in the final sector. Jensen Randall now up the inside of Andrea Letrello for P3. As Pablo Bez has retired from the session, it looks like he also retired in the pit lane here. Jensen Randall 28.1 takes away the fast lap again from David Rod. So correction, I think of course the drivers that are on much older tires have already pitted, as Andrea Letrella now closes up to Jensen Randall and actually takes the position here into Brooklands. So Andrea Letrella now back up into P3. Oh, runs it a little bit wide there. Look at that, David Rod as well, really close to the back of the McLaren. As we watch on from this very nice aerial shot here. As the drivers go into Cobb's Corner. Such a flowing circuit, this Silverstone track here, isn't it? And now this is probably the most flowing bit of the circuit in Vegas and Chapel. Look at them flying through. Oh, Andrea Letrella gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits. That could be costly. At the end of the race, runs it very wide there as well. And this one now gives the run to Jensen Randall again here on the hanger straight. David Rod is looking to make it a double overtake potentially. It's going to go to the outside here into Stowe, although Randall has the defending line there into the corner. And doesn't hold him up because David Rod is still there. And he will now have the inside for the club chicane. Oh, look at that. Randall really standing firm here at the front. Still holds on to P3. So, yeah, so the drivers that are around this group here, they still need to pit. Because even Senadoulis is still on his starting set. He's on 18 lap mediums. And also Alexei Kovenemi and German D'Amaco on 18 lap old hards and mediums respectively. So yeah, indeed, Alexei Kovenemi, German D'Amaco and Senadoulis haven't made a pit stop yet. So this is the effective race for the lead here. Even though it's only the battle for P3 for now. On board with Alex Benedetta here. He is potentially looking at a points finish. He's currently down in P12. But of course with those drivers in front of him still needing to pit, he will probably be promoted back into the top 10 once that all shovels out. And he is still within slipstream range of George Wilkes. And also the two Williams drivers still very close together as Tim Venting goes through on Juan Rivas. And he's followed by Noah Smith and Jamie Egerstrom. Oh, a bit of lap traffic there. That was Jesper Lampen, and he has to be careful to not get in the way too much. Alexei Kovenemi and German D'Amaco is still staying out. I wonder what their reasoning is behind it, because they're stretching it so long. I think they're just trying to bank on a very late safety car to help them out here. As Jensen Randall now goes through on his teammate German D'Amaco. On the inside there of Brooklands, and Jerome, he's going to try and make it difficult for David Rod. Look at that, Jerome completely defending from the Sauber there. He's really trying to help out his teammate, and this is going to be costly for David Rod because he has lost a bit of touch now and he's still behind the German driver. Oh, David Rod is going to have a headache now because he is really stuck behind Jensen Randall's teammate. And you don't want to be stuck here as well because Jerome D'Amaco is on much older tires. He's going to be slowed up massively and he will have dirty air as well. This is really costly for David Rod. David Rod is going to be pulling his hair out now because he just lost so much time behind the McLaren. He has now lost the arrest to Jensen Randall as well. Still D'Amaco defending here into Stowe corner there. And finally David Rod manages to find a way around him. Oh, and the Haas as well of Latrella now dive bombing George Wilkes into the club chicane there. As Latrella now also finds his way through up to 4th. Oh man, that was a little bit sketchy there for Jerome Adamako. That was some really hard defending, and in my opinion, that was a little bit too harsh because David Rod just lost so much time, and he is not in the same race as Jerome Adamako there. Now, of course, James Sorrento and Jerome Adamako are teammates, but that was really on the limit of what is legal, in my opinion. As Juan Rivas, Sandro Dulis, Noah Smith, and Jamie Egerstrom are fighting it out here for P7. Look at the two Williams drivers there, swarming around the back of the Ferrari of Dulis. Egerstrom here on the outside of Sandro Dulis into Cobb's corner. Gets the position. Oh, and look at that! Spots of rain are starting to appear. Now, is this why drivers like Alexei Kovademi and Sandro Dulis are staying out for so long? Randall now is back into the lead again. But look at that, Alexei Kovademi still stays out. Sandro Dulis is probably going to do the same thing because they are stretching it on those mediums that they started the race on because they're waiting for the rain to come down. Noah Smith now into the pits. So now I finally understand why they are stretching it so long. They knew that the rain was probably going to come, and they are stretching those tires until they can go straight onto the intermediate tires. Noah Smith, he couldn't stretch it any longer, and he's already going to make the switch now to the inters. It might be a little bit early, but maybe it could work out. So Sandro Dulis, he was a sitting duck. He had no chance of defending against the drivers with fresher tires, but now it all starts to make sense. He's got George Wilkes now. He tries to defend on the inside here. Wilkes to the outside here of Brooklands, which will turn to the inside of Loffield. They are still alongside each other. Dulis trying to get the power down there on the outside despite being on really old tires, and actually manages to do so. So, Noah Smith and Dion Stow are the first ones to try it here on the intermediate tire. Now George Wilkes does get the run on Sandro Dulis. So maybe Dion is also going in early to test out the conditions and communicate with Sandro Dulis what it feels like on the inters, but I think it is still a little bit too early. So, is Dulis going to come in on his lap, or is he going to stay out for one more? He is going to come in. Those medium tires are going to be really worn out as well. So, I suspect that Dion communicated to Sandro that the conditions are now suitable for the intermediate tire. Oh, Sandro Dulis actually picked up a time penalty there for speeding into the pit lane. That is really costly. He did the same thing last year, Sandro Dulis. So, both of us are on the intermediate tire. What a shame for Dulis to pick up that 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That is so unnecessary. Okay, so Jens Randall still out on the mediums, followed by David Rod. Is he going to risk it and go to the inters as well? He's got to do something because he has now got a 3.8 second gap. So, we've got 4 drivers on the inters. And also, Jerome Adamako still on his starting set of mediums, so surely he will come in on this lap as well. Now maybe the McLaren teammates are communicating as well. Maybe they think that it's not ready yet for the inters. So, Alexei Kovademi now also into the pits. After starting on the hard tires, he's done 22 laps on those. But still, Jensen Randall on those mediums as his teammate Jerome Adamako decides to come in as well. So I think this is definitely going to be the crossover point now. Ademako to the inters as well. So 3 laps to go. I think at this point, if you stay out now, of course the drivers who have already pitted, they have got their mandatory stop out of the way. They've used the 2 compounds, so they can stretch it to the end if they want to. Now, will they risk it and stay out on slicks on a wet track, or are they going to prefer being on the right tire at the right time? Tim Wenting here fighting it out with Juan Rivas. So a very nice comeback drive for Wenting. He is up into 4th place after starting in last place. Now what will Jensen Rendell do here? He is going to stay out. Jensen Rendell, he is going to risk it and stay on the slicks with 2 laps remaining. Interesting. The rain is definitely going to throw a spanner in the works here at this late phase of the race. And we will find out which drivers have made the right strategy choice and which drivers haven't. This race is almost a little bit similar to the race we had here in Season 4 and even in Season 2, which also started off dry and ended in intermediate conditions. Although the rain has come at a much later stage of the race in this year's edition of the Silverstone Grand Prix, the first race of 2025, and it has certainly been a very interesting one. George Wilkes getting through almost on Jamie Ekstrom, nearly loses the back end. He had a massive moment of wheel spin there, and that now allows Alex Venicetti to get the run. Correction, Alex Venicetti just lost the place to Alexi Coleman. I think that is actually Sam Brandt, who is a lap down. And it is. So Sam Brandt is mixing it up between Jamie Ekstrom and George Wilkes here, but he is not racing there for position. He does actually go through because he is already on the intermediate tires. So Sam Brandt is trying to get his lap back here. I don't blame him because he's on the much quicker tires, of course, as it's definitely starting to rain now. But he will have to be a little bit careful to not interfere too much. And yeah, Rando has now bridged the gap to 7 seconds over David Roth. Tim Wenting gets through on Juan Rivas. Looks like 4th place is going to be the maximum for him. And George Wilkes now also finds his way through on the Williams of Jägerström. As Jensen Rendell now starts the last lap, still out on the slicks, but the rain is not falling hard enough, and he is still got a 7-second advantage, so he can just cruise it home here to secure the race win. David Roth still in a pretty safe second. He's got Andrea Latrella 1.1 seconds back. Tim Wenting, he is still under pressure from Juan Rivas. And the other Aston Martin of George Wilkes in 6th place. Alex Benechetti and Jerome Ademaker are fighting it out for P9. Jerome just got through on the Colombian. So Alex Benechetti just about holding on to a point. He also didn't pit, so he is still out on that very one set of mediums. As now the DRS has been disabled, so yeah, the rain really took too long for the intermediate runners to really benefit out of it. So still a very close fight here going on for P4 between Juan Rivas, Tim Wenting and George Wilkes. But in the meantime, Jensen Rendell is coming around the final corner. And Jensen Rendell wins here in an absolute masterclass of driving and tactics. He wins his 7th race win of the season and decreases his lead in the World Championship. David Roth will finish in 2nd place in the Kick Sauber, and Andrea Latrella just in behind him in the Haas will pick up P3. Tim Wenting here, he did get the run on Juan Rivas and he manages to pick up 4th place. And also in the dying moments of the race, Jesper Lampinen gets through on Sam Brandt, who is on the intermediate tires but really struggling. Jamie Jägerström crosses the line in 6th place. Alexei Kovenemi in 7th. George Wilkes is 8th. John Adamaco scores 2 points in the McLaren. And Alex Benechetti just about holds on to a single point on those slicks. But well done, Jensen Randall. Another victory for him in his home Grand Prix as he wins his 7th race of the season. And also increases his lead in the World Championship over Tim Wentink. And Randall chasing that 4th. He's another step closer today. So he definitely made the right call there to stay out on the slicks because the rain didn't really pull through as we maybe thought. I really expected it was going to rain a little bit heavier, but the rain really stayed away and never really got that heavy. The DRS only got disabled on the last lap, so he definitely called it right there, the Jensen Randall. And it seems like nobody can stop him. First place for Jensen Randall here at Silverstone. Driver of the day goes to Tim Wentink. After coming from 18th on the grid all the way up to 5th place. But like we've seen 6 times previously already this season, Jensen Randall celebrates yet another victory. David Roth in 2nd place and the Italian Andrea Letrella completes the podium in 3rd place. So after all that, they threw everything at it. Noah Smith was very strong early on in the race. And he definitely had to work for it. And also the rain falling at the end made it a little bit unpredictable, but still Jensen Randall came out on top after starting a pole position and he got the fast lap as well. So it's a 26-point victory for Jensen Randall. Another dominant performance. A great driving from David Roth there to pick up 2nd place, and Senna Julius also actually had to do 26 laps with wing damage, so it was definitely handicapped throughout that race, and then also picked up a 10-second time penalty just to rub salt into the wounds. Andrea Letrella in 3rd place, Juan Rivas is 4th, Tim Wentink 5th, Jamie Jägerström 6th in front of Alexei Kovenemi, George Wilkes, Jerome Adamaco, Alex Benechetti, Noah Smith, Senna Julius, Dion Staal, Ivan Brito, Robin Herstagen, Jesper Lampinen, Sam Brandt, and Pablo Bass and Max Mulder failing to finish the race. Those were the only 2 retirements. So pretty clean race, no safety cars, also no virtual safety cars, and no crashes. I think both of those retirements were in the pit lane. So, good to see all the drivers keeping it clean, apart from, of course, the damage that we saw some drivers pick up on the first lap, and also Senna Julius actually having to do the entire race with a damaged front wing. But that has been it for the first race of 2025 for round 11, the Silverstone British Grand Prix. And the next round is going to be on the 18th of January for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in Baku for the 12th round of the season. So this has been it for SRL. I hope you enjoyed that race. It was certainly quite an interesting one, especially with the rain falling at the end. But in the end, it was still the ending that we're all so familiar with Jensen Randall once again showing why he is the defending champion. So thank you so much for watching. Check us out on Instagram, SRL_F1, to keep up with all the news, championship standings, race highlights, stuff like that. And of course, keep an eye on the SRL League YouTube as well. So watch the highlights of this race in case you missed the live stream or want to have the highlights package from the whole weekend. So thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you for the next round in Azerbaijan in 2 weeks time on the 18th of January. This was the first SRL race of 2025. See you next time. Goodbye.